back now live on the show floor here at NAB 22, and I'm so happy to be joined by Aaron Parecki. Welcome to the Epiphan booth.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Yeah, it's great to be here, and you know, as any show floor, there's always struggles with networking.
Of course. It wouldn't be an expo without network struggles.
Exactly. So, now, you were mentioning that you were using some bonded LTE yesterday?
Yesterday I was trying out this interesting bonded LTE solution, which that part of the solution worked fine, but it turns out the battery pack for it died, and then I had to go run around. We were finding an outlet. So
yeah, there's always something,
it's
right?
Always something.
And you know, one of the things I'm so impressed with you is you're able to get the content out quickly, right? Get the content to the people in a relevant time frame, create that engagement. So talk to me about your process and how you do that.
Yeah, I guess a lot of that is thanks to, it's a combination of the live streams that I do, where I do talk about things live, where I can, you know, after something happens, I can very quickly just do a live stream about it. I will say that those, I tend to also, I like doing edited videos where I'm explaining more things as well, and I like watching those more than I like watching live streams, unless I'm actually part of the community of the live streams that I'm in. What that means, though, is that I also prioritize making edited videos, and that is a lot of work. With a live stream, you sit down, you have a little bit of setup time, you do the live stream, and then it's done. With the edited video, it's a whole list of stuff to do, and it takes a lot longer. So I've been working on trimming down that process to make that take less time so that I can make more of that kind of content. And a big part of that is having a studio space, having cameras set up all the time, having a workflow where I can take those cameras, quickly go into an editor, and then also working on the way I record, the technique I use for recording, and scripting the videos in a way that's easy to edit. So I have been working on it. It's been iterative.
And are you a one-man band?
You know, which is also part of the problem. So if I had the ability to have other people as part of the crew, things would go a lot faster.
Yeah, but there's always ways you can find efficiency in the process. So tell me about how you iterate those tools, or how do you always find the new ways to create content more efficient?
Yeah, it's I think doing the live streams has actually helped me find those tools. So because when you're doing a live stream, you have to have multiple cameras, because you can't take the one camera and then just sort of move it around, because people get motion sick and you can't get all the right angles. So I've had to have I've had to have the live stream studio set up in a way that works for live streams, which means a lot of that does translate to then doing quicker edited videos. So because everything is set up, because it all is right there all the time, then yeah, it's a lot. That's been part of the process. So really doing these live streams has been how I've been feeding into the process of doing the edits later. So. And
you have your home studio operational right now, even though you're here on the show floor, is that right?
Yeah, so again, because I have this studio at home with all the cameras in there, and I can reconfigure it on the fly. What we're doing here is we're here with these cameras pushing up to the Epiphan cloud, or Unify you call it?
Yeah, Epiphan Unify. Yeah. It's our new sort of cloud platform.
But then that, instead of going directly to my YouTube channel, it's going back down into my studio, into a receiver that's taking that feed, and then packaging it up with the rest of my show. So the way I run my show with the countdown timer and the graphics and things like that. So it's all connected.
I mean, all the possibilities here. It's kind of like the limiting factor is not the technology anymore; it's your imagination almost. Is that
and
fair
the
to
network.
Say? Yeah, and the network, of course.
Yeah.
But there are ways to solve the network. Like, for example, here in the Epiphan booth, we are streaming SRT with H.265. So we're kind of getting like the same quality at half the bandwidth. So like, things like HEVC are really enabling you to do more even when you're in an unpredictable network environment.
Yeah, so cutting down the bandwidth requirement is great, because then you need a smaller pipe, and then SRT over RTMP is also a huge component of that, right? Because it deals with the flaky networks a lot better.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to me about SRT. How are you building it into your workflows?
Yeah, I'm just starting to really use it, I would say. I haven't done a ton with it yet because a lot of the existing gear doesn't speak it yet. So, I have RTMP encoders all over the place, and YouTube takes RTMP in, so I'm mostly in that world, which really, really wants a reliable pipe. And that's not something you get here, so the RTMP, pushing an RTMP feed from here is not a great idea. So anytime we can go into the SRT world, it's going to handle that a lot better. So I believe we are pushing SRT into my studio right now. No, I gave you an RTMP link into my studio, but that's fine because it's cloud to my gigabit network at home.
Fantastic.
Totally bypassing this whole situation.
Yeah,
so,
fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of the neat thing here is you can find a way to make all of these tools and capabilities, protocols work together, but ultimately it's about like delivering the content to your audience, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to make it great. So, what trends are you trying to stay on top of, especially when you're here at NAB?
I know. I didn't know what to expect coming to NAB this year. It's my first time here, so I didn't know what to expect. And I think actually what I'm most surprised by, I didn't really expect it to be so pervasive, is the whole concept of cloud production. Like, I know, I've done some experiments myself in that world. I've done a little bit here and there with it, but I haven't shifted my whole workflow into that yet. And that seems to be a common theme in a lot of these booths right now. And it's really like, how do we simplify what's on the ground to just a camera and some sort of encoder? Yeah. And then push that, get it out of the building, do all the work somewhere else.
Somewhere else that has a good connection, right?
Yeah, or someone sitting comfy on the couch.
Yeah, or a remote producer like we have here today. So I don't know if your audience is aware, but this entire show is being mixed by our producer Jeremy, who's like 2,000 miles away in Ottawa, and he's able to, in a web browser, control this studio as if he's on premise. He's got his Stream Deck set up, he's got all of his efficient macros ready to go, and like that's a nice capability. And something like this wouldn't have been possible even 5 years ago, or maybe even 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really cool that that's running in a browser too, which is, some of the other ones are like you download their app, or you have to have special software. But this is cool that you can just pop it open in a browser and mix the show.
What are some of the cloud tools that you use, Aaron?
Some of the cloud tools I use, let me think. So I haven't actually run vMix in the cloud. I've heard some good things about it. I have never really touched vMix, but I have a lot of friends who do. I have run some more of the DIY stuff in the cloud. It's a server I rent from a VPS provider or something. So I have run like a built-in Nginx server, used that to push feeds around different places. Very DIY, cobbled together, not an end-to-end solution, but it has let me do things like a couple weeks ago I was in Vienna and I was on the really bad hotel Wi-Fi trying to push a stream from there to my house, and for some reason going directly from the hotel, actually that didn't even work. It was from my cell phone in Vienna. Going from my cell phone in Vienna to the studio didn't work. Going from the cell phone to Frankfurt AWS to my studio worked great. So same overall distance traveled, but different network topography. And I think that was an interesting demonstration of like, you really do need those backbones that exist in the cloud side of things to make those long network hops. IT Never Gets Old is on my channel and commenting, reminding me of a tool I have used a lot, which is StreamYard. Totally forgot. I don't know why I completely forgot about that. Thank you. StreamYard is a cloud streaming platform, but it's like it is a complete solution. There are no building blocks available to you. Like, it does the thing, and it does it very well, and it does it well enough that I don't mind explaining to somebody who has no experience in live streaming how to run a stream using StreamYard. And I do actually use it for some of my streams for work because of that, because it's just very easy to tell people, like, go to this link, you click the picture to make it go, like people join with the browser. So that one I've been pretty impressed with too.
Here at Epiphan, we talk about broadcasting without barriers, right? And how can we use technology effectively so that more people have access to be able to tell their story or to create their content, and to make it more intuitive and easy to do and reliable. Where do you see the future heading in that respect?
I mean, I think we are seeing a lot of that with this move to the cloud, because one of the things it's doing is it's reducing the gear you need to do the collection in the first place. So, like, this is a good example of, we've got a camera, we've got the Pearl Nano on the table there. That's it. And then, like, to start that, you just press the big red button, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you get someone out there with a camera in the field. It doesn't take a lot of explaining of how to get that set up. And now, of course, on the production side, it's a little more complicated, but that's also okay, because that's where it's, especially if you can have that be anywhere, you don't need to send someone who knows that tech to the on-site location.
Exactly, yeah. And you're engaged with your audience, like, you know, how do you keep the conversation as relevant and as timely as possible? You know, I've seen you do some cool things where, like, you have animated titles with comments and things like that. So talk to me about some of your workflows there.
I think a lot of what's fun about doing this is just trying stuff out and bring people along for the ride. Like, the way I think of what I do on my channel is, I am trying to help people, for one, just trying to teach what I know, but also trying to experiment. And if things go wrong, and everybody is pretty okay with it, because it means we get to learn something afterwards.
Right.
So, like I'm seeing right now, I'm realizing the weak link in this plan I had of having you guys push to my studio was, again, because of this just chaotic environment and the back-to-back schedulings, we didn't actually do a full end-to-end test of this.
Yeah.
So what happened was, I showed up right after Photo Joseph was on live, had about 5 minutes of trying to connect my cell phone tethering to my computer so I can see it here, and then got the feed into my studio, pulled up my multi-view, and what I did not test was, does that link actually work?
Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming it works, because I've been pushing feeds to it throughout the conference, but we haven't actually tested from Pearl, for example.
Exactly.
So that was the weak link here. So hopefully the stream is holding up okay, but I do see some comments that the audio on my side isn't coming through great.
Oh,
but
really?
It's fine on your side.
Okay.
Which means that's the link that's broken here. It's the Pearl to my RTMP receiver is the problem, and it's because we didn't test it.
Okay, well, I mean, that's one
go.
lesson that we've learned time and time again is test.
Right.
But sometimes you don't have that luxury, right?
Yeah.
And that's where maybe having a producer who's off-site, he can be worried about all of that stuff, and it gives you the opportunity to be a little more, present in the space and figuring things out on site. Right?
Exactly. Well, and at least I'm not dealing with choosing the camera angles and stuff right now. That's all.
It's handled
that's
for
all.
you.
I'm all hands off on that right now, which is probably, honestly, what I should have done, is just let you stream directly to my YouTube channel for this.
That's all good. That's all good. You know what? We always have a backup stream, so we are streaming to the Epiphan video channel.
There we go.
We made sure to tag you there as well,
Great.
so we'll see it. You mentioned Pearl Nano. I know you've had a chance to play around with the device a little bit. Give us your thoughts, impressions, and how you see yourself using it, or how you see others using it.
Yeah, really neat little device. I think it is, like, exactly the right feature set for how you're positioning it, of, like, remote collection, hands off, like, remote administration. Like, I could definitely see putting that into a school, a studio, somewhere where you're not expecting the people using it there to be fully trained on how to use all 10,000 buttons on an ATEM, right? So you put that there, it's pretty easy to explain how to set it up to somebody who isn't familiar with it, and then you can manage it remotely. Love it. And it's got, like, I was super surprised to see the upgrades launched in this firmware of the 4K and H.265.
Firmware 4.16, it launched on April 13th, and free edition of H.265 HEVC, and then there is 4K. It is a paid upgrade for that feature.
Wait, for both, or just the 4K?
Just for 4K.
Okay.
Yeah, so HEVC is now available for free.
Cool.
And people should be using it and trying it and experimenting with it. And then, hey, if you need 4K, it's available to you. It's just a paid feature.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah. We find a lot of people, they might start with 1080p for their productions, and then they progress to 4K, so it's available if you need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm still all 1080 on my channel so far. I haven't made the leap to 4K. We'll see when or if that happens. Yeah,
I'm sure it will at some point. I saw Blackmagic is demoing like a 12K camera here at NAB.
Right,
which
And there are 8K switchers and
unreal, right?
Yeah,
like I've been saying time and time again throughout the show that like we're kind of living in the future. But I think a lot of what we're seeing is made possible by a lot of the innovation that had to happen over the last couple of years. Would you agree?
I agree, and I suspect that is strongly the reason for that being kind of the theme of what I'm seeing here. Is just everything is moving to ways of working where you don't rely on everybody being in the same space. And that's everything from the whole camera to cloud idea to the remote production ideas like we're doing here. And that seems to be the thread connecting a lot of these booths. Yeah.
Okay, so you're still here for a couple days. What would you like to see while you're here at NAB, and what other things get you excited?
Yeah, I mean, there's honestly so much here. I know the show is like a lot smaller than it normally has been. That's what everybody's been saying.
It still feels really
big. But it still feels really big.
Yeah.
I have not seen all the booths yet, and I don't know if I will be able to. At this point, I'm just trying to get my head around what am I going to take away from this and package up into something I can explain on my channel. I'll be doing a live stream again next week on Sunday on my channel like I normally do. And we're going to chat about what we saw. So I'm trying to figure out, what that's going to look like.
It's probably going to take a couple days to sort of like let this sink in and digest, and then like you'll remember everything that happened.
I know.
Yeah. Well, should we leave it at that?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for hanging with me while we're dealing with the audio glitches on my end.
All good.
But
all good. That's it's to be expected, and that's like you said, is like we've learned more from our mistakes, and from the challenges we have than anything else.
Yeah.
So, and also it kind of shows us where the gaps are, and that gives a company like Epiphan the opportunity to innovate and to solve some of these problems and create solutions that work. Right.
There we go.
Make it happen. So, thank you so much for joining us, Aaron, and to everyone else, we'll see you again live from NAB. Stay tuned on YouTube. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.